Hey everyone, welcome to the Daily Crypto Vision. Today we are seeing that cryptos are recovering a little bit from the sell-off of the recent days. Bitcoin is now trading 8% higher, around 5,300. Ethereum recovering as well, 6% higher to $118. XRP $15 more or less, 6% higher as well. Bitcoin Cash 11.8% higher, $183. So that's a good sign. Total amount of cryptocurrencies we see here, 5,216. Total amount of cryptos being traded on markets of 20,882. Market cap 152 billion, whereas the BTC dominance is standing firm at 64%. Take a look at the news on Cointelegraph. There we see the Brave browser delivers on promise files GDPR complaint against Google. And earlier today, March 16, Brave filed a formal complaint, so it was yesterday, against Google with the lead general data protection regulation GDPR enforcer in Europe. In a February Cointelegraph interview, Dr. Johnny Ryan, Brave's Chief Policy and Industry Relations Officer, explained that Google is abusing its power by sharing user data collected by dozens of its distinct services, creating a free-for-all data warehouse. According to Ryan, this was a clear violation of the GDPR. Aggravated with the situation and lack of enforcement against the giant, Ryan promised to take Google to court if things don't change for the better. Complaint against Google, that's a good thing, of course, to stand up against big companies like Google. And now the complaint is with the Irish Data Protection Commission. It accuses Google of violating Article 5.1b of GDPR. Dublin is Google's European headquarters. And as Dr. Ryan explained to Cointelegraph, the Commission is responsible for regulating Google's data protection across the European Economic Area. And the Article 5.1b of the GDPR requires data to be collected for specified, explicit and legitimate purposes and not further processed in a manner that is incompatible with those purposes. And according to Dr. Ryan, I quote, enforcement of Brave's GDPR purpose limitation complaints against Google would be tantamount to a functional separation, giving everyone the power to decide what parts of Google they chose to reward with the data. Dr. Ryan has spent 6 months trying to elicit a response from Google to a basic question: what do you do with my data? To no avail. Alongside the complaint, Brave released a study called Inside the Black Box that, quote, examines a diverse set of documents written for Google's business clients, technology partners, developers, lawmakers and users. It reveals that Google collects personal data from integration with websites, apps and operating systems for hundreds of ill-defined processing purposes. And Brave does not need regulators to compete with Google. And Cointelegraph asked Dr. Ryan how Google's treatment of user data frustrated Brave as a competitor, to which he said and replied, quote, the question is not relevant. Brave does not, as far as I'm aware, have direct frustration with Google. Brave is growing nicely, being a particularly fast, excellent and private browser. It doesn't need regulators to help it grow, unquote. And a recent privacy study indicated that Brave protects users' privacy much better than Google's Chrome and other major browsers. In addition to filing a formal complaint with the Irish Data Protection Commission, Brave has reportedly written to the EC, German Bundeskartellamt, UK Competition and Market Authority, and French Autorité de la Concurrence. If none of these regulatory bodies take action against Google's, Brave has suggested that it may take the giant to court itself. So it's a very brave statement of Brave, of course. And Brave has been developed by an ex-founder of Firefox. So that's a quite interesting note. If we take a look at the Bitcoin, I will take a look here, the BTC chart in US dollars. And there we see that the market is more or less consolidating around 5,300. Yesterday it dropped like crazy towards 4,300 even, and it was a not nice move, of course. So we have to be careful not to be too optimistic with some green shoots. And the green shoot you can see here around 5,000, level 5,000, around, that is around number, of course. The low was below 4,000, was last week, albeit the move is still on the sell side, of course. And on the trading navigator it still doesn't imply a buy opportunity, but we have to have a little bit patience, and 4 hourly basis also consolidating still a sell. So we have to have a buy signal on the very short term. That might be on the daily basis, on the hourly basis for the green shoot first, for a breakout above the 5,500. Then we can take a look to the upside to the 6,000 level, but don't expect too many miracles on the short term. Anyway, key levels to take a look at: 5,000 to the downside, 4,400 to the downside, and 6,000 to the upside. I wish you a very pleasant evening. Hasta la vista. Bye.